What's up, guys? My name's Alexis.
And I'm Abby.
And we are your hosts with Praises in the Pod. We are absolutely stoked for today. We got Pat and Paigh Chastain. Y'all already heard Paige's testimony, but we thought it would be awesome if we bring her husband in and actually go deeper into their testimony together and then him by himself. So we're going to start off in prayer and then we're going to jump right in. So here we go.
All right.
Lord, Heavenly Father, just thank you. Thank you for this space, Lord God, where we can come and talk about your goodness and your faithfulness and what all you have done in our lives. We are just so thankful that we have Paige and Pat to look to and just be able to confide in, but also just grow together in a community, Lord God. We are just so thankful for all that you have done in our lives, all that you are doing, and all that you're going to do that we have no idea about. We're just so thankful, Lord God. We just pray that you speak to us today and that you speak through us. Let this episode glorify you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
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 Let's get it popping.
Did he hit record?
Girl, yes, I hit record.
Ooh, I just got real nervous.
And sometimes we got to redo the intro, so she was just like,
Oh, got a little nervous. All right.
All right.
Professional.
Yes. So, Paige, we talked last week, and we just kind of gave everybody a rundown, and I mean, it was amazing. You did so good. But I know that you actually experienced some spiritual warfare when you left.
Good.
So do you want to maybe open up and tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. I didn't have time to really go very deep in advance prior to us getting together and talking about it. All I had done was pray about it, and I just asked the Lord just to give me the words to share the story that Pat and I experienced in our life, and just asked that he get the glory. And so after we did it, of course, it was a little unnerving because I'd never done anything like this before. But I felt really good afterwards until I got home and had some quiet time, and the shots just started firing at me left and right.
Yeah.
Satan telling me that I shouldn't have said this, or I overshared that, or I didn't give recognition to this person or that person, and that my story was irrelevant and what I had to say was not, all the ways that he could have come at me and attacked me personally, and then made me think that everything was awful. And the tears just started flooding. I was sitting on my couch. He was out walking around the block exercising, and I had made my dinner, and I just had to push my food back and I just cried. And I just asked the Lord just to help me because I knew what was going on. I knew that the Lord was getting glory.
Yeah.
And that hopefully people would be able to take something away from something I shared, one of the struggles that we experienced, and maybe realize and recognize that there's hope, maybe from what they're experiencing right now. And it was just rough. And for several days, I was just caught up in just some negative mind space. And
Yeah, I'm glad you opened up about that.
goodness.
Because I went through the same exact thing. After our testimony, I just almost went into straight panic mode.
Yes.
But I just kept praying over and over, Lord, if this just touches one person,
Right.
like I know you did something in that room today. And so I'm glad you kind of brought that up. And so others might not feel alone or be hesitant to share their story because, or even feel a certain type of way about themselves when they do experience those feelings, because either way, I think God's going to get the glory, and we've seen that over these past few months, really over a year now.
Yeah.
Well, I reached out to Alexis and I just shared my heart, and I said, look at how Satan is really trying to steal, kill, and destroy through this experience.
It's crazy because as soon as you left, I texted Pat and I was like, so good. In all caps, I was just like, I just know that it's going to be used in a big way. I'm telling you the truth.
But I'm excited to have both of you here today because,
We're gonna jump in.
I know how your story is going to touch so many people, but I was thinking on the way over here, I'm like, I cannot wait until somebody hears y'all's story and the specific things y'all went through in your marriage during those dark times, but where it's at now and how God used that and the reconciliation process behind it. Because I see every day so many marriages that still struggle, that are struggling. And just for somebody, I know there's somebody out there that needs to hear this. And so I'm really excited for somebody to see God really and truly can wholly restore a marriage that was once broken.
Pat,
Yeah.
Let's jump right in.
What up?
Tell us a little bit about your childhood and like how you grew up and stuff like that.
Well, we were mom and daddy in the house, 3 boys. It was always 3 boys, and that's a lot for any family, especially a mom. I wouldn't even call us, we were barely middle class, barely. We were in the lower, higher poor. I wouldn't even call it middle. We were higher poor. And it was, but we were close knit. And, but I know we were a handful, all 3 of us. I had a brother who was a year and a half under, and me. And I had a younger brother, probably 7, 8 years below me. And it was all good. We went to church. It was just the cliche way of living.
Yeah. So you grew up in like the church.
Yeah, man. We Green Acres Baptist Church on that bus.
Wow.
On them Sundays.
So funny. Paige said the exact same thing about that bus.
We haven't talked about
What
that.
if we rode together and we didn't even know it?
Wow.
No, you probably would have been trying to talk to me if you had been.
I was from the south side of town.
Yeah. No, okay.
We went to Camp Snowbird last week and we drove the Green Acres van. And I thought about you because you told me.
Well, you got that bubble gum, and then there was Kite and Hot Dog Day. Remember Kite and Hot Dog Sunday?
Yes.
When you rolled up in there on that Sunday, they gave that kite and that hot dog. And I went. I was there. I want to get that kite.
Wow.
But we were raised in Green Acres. Terry Taylor, he called you out in church. I mean, he did not play, but that's what we grew up on. And, it was, so we grew up right. Mom and daddy, it was the cliche. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. What we doing here stays in here, all that. So we were just like most families. If you're in mid-50s like I am, that's how we were raised. So we were raised right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then we do know that later on you get a little older and things start getting a little sideways. So when does stuff kind of get a little chaotic, I guess?
Well, 7th grade bathroom, I smoked a joint. That's right. I was
Fresh.
Yeah, just right off the rip. And I was very athletic. My younger brother, 1.5 years younger, he was not. He went the other way, and there was a lot of there. Okay, I had this world, he had that. So in the 7th grade, I tried a joint, and it done something to me. But after that, I was done, and I never touched another drug until the probably 9th grade, 10th grade summer, and then the wheels come off. I got a taste of that way of living, and I was. So when I say the wheels come off, let me back up. I don't think the wheels all the way come off. I tried again the 10th grade, and then by the time somewhere in that 1986, 87, 11th, 12th, it was all a blur.
Had your friend kind of group changed, and you think that's what maybe led to that? Or?
Well, I hit it. I hit everything behind athletics. We get high, and again, it really didn't get bad till senior in high school. That's
When did y'all start dating? How old were y'all?
Senior.
That his senior year. And I was a junior.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So in Paige's, she says, like she wasn't aware really of any of this, right? Because she didn't know about this until y'all got married and the honeymoon, the cigarettes.
I heard talk around town.
But no, not my man.
Yeah. Well, I never experienced it. I never saw that side of him. Whenever he was around me, he was clean, sober. I didn't smell cigarettes or skunk or, any of those things they say.
That's what Paige calls weeds, skunk.
Yeah.
But she never smelled no pot. She
Don't know.
we like to cut up. We're gonna have a good time. We're laugh. But she didn't know. She's so naive and she's so pure and just sweet, kind. I mean, you could lie to her. She just saw the good in everybody.
And you were still kind of playing both fields, though, too. I mean, you were the football player, good, and then still kind of have that in the back.
Good's a stretch, Abby. Good's a stretch.
Yeah, between good and
Yeah.
Good.
Good
Football player.
Yeah. Okay, not that good. Yeah, okay. I thought you was knocking my game, football game. I said, hold on, we'll do intermission. Anyway, so you could pull some stats. Well, she believed the best in you. You could. I mean, I'm not proud of this, but anybody, you could lie to Paige because Paige was just that good. It's not good at all, but that's how good a person she is.
Yeah.
She choose to believe you. So
Good in you.
yeah, she saw the good, and so that's we we met, and I went over to when I was in high school. I was taking a class or something.
Taking like the drafting.
Yeah, drafting class, and we kissed in the hall one time, and she wasn't supposed to do that.
It was kind of you stole a kiss.
I mean, it takes two. You can't.
He started stealing her.
One person can't kiss the other one by themselves. That's just wrong. I mean, you can't do that. But anyway, that was our little thing, and then
How long until, so y'all started dating, your senior year, and then, graduated high school? How long, I guess, did y'all date, and were y'all together before things got really serious? And
well, I was older than she was by a year, maybe. And I went to Georgia Southern for that time. And when I left, it was probably, we kind of like broke it off a little bit. We joke about who broke up with who, but we know the truth. But anyway, so no, we cut up. We quit dating, and
For a brief.
yeah, brief, and then something happened. You want to take over from there? Anyway, she ended up getting pregnant, and
okay,
so and she went over.
When we were on the break.
No, we weren't. But we ended up getting.
y'all kind of got back together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I failed out.
For a year.
Yeah, I failed out of college and had to come back. And,
Gotcha.
So it was 1 year of just a waste. But then came back and, like I said, found out she was pregnant. And that's kind of when our life it gelled it changed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was probably it.
So I know that like when we talked, you were saying how it was hard because he is starting to like go out and do all these things, and you have a baby at home. So like for you, what does that look like? What is that chapter? Because y'all are new parents, young parents.
And
how old were y'all when y'all had Ashton?
Yeah. And how'd y'all got married?
19 and 18.
He was 20. He was almost 21.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much full blown.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm smoking weed every day, drinking. It's just still wild as a buck. And she's trying to figure it out. Like, what have I done? What have I gotten into? And then the goodness of her, like, he's going to change and he can do this. So I'm just probably speaking for her, but I would think that was the hope. And it never tapered off. And then I lost my brother in an automobile accident somewhere. And when that happened, I become unhinged, and it was game over then, and just.
That was 2 years after we been married a little over 2 years.
Okay. So y'all had gotten married and been married 2 years, and that kind of happened. And then from there, it just kind of really spiraled.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Our daughter was 11 months old.
Okay.
Yeah. But death, the way it does you there's no concept of time. There's no concept of time when you lose somebody close. Now, for most part, you can ask me how long have they been gone. I can just tell you 20 plus. It just does. It bends your brain, and it
takes you through it.
Oh, it takes you through it, and it did something to me.
So you use the drugs, the alcohol, just that type of lifestyle to numb that.
Yeah. When you're angry, you're angry.
So at this point, I'm glad you said that. So you're angry at God.
Well, I just
angry at the world.
Okay,
you don't have a relationship.
I don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And you want to tell yourself every night before I go to bed, I say, Lord, forgive me. I love you. And then I'd probably be up for 6 days. But I said it every single night. There was almost like this false sense of connection with him that you know how we do. We got to justify. We're still good. I can still know him. And you're lost as a goose in a hailstorm, but you need something to connect you to the Father. And I mean, we're using terms like Father now, but that meant nothing back then. But that will you forgive me every single night, just about, in active addiction for 22 years, that meant something to me. And
But he wouldn't stay that way. There would be days when he would do what you would think would be normal. He would be grounded in the concepts and the foundational teachings that his parents raised him in. And he would be good, and he would be there for me and for our
all right, so I think you need to, and again, we're still learning, but we're in the, and I think we will tie this in somewhere, because remember now, no matter what you hear us say today, we were always one, because you can't change that God's word says. We were married, we were always one. I was lost, but the the days she would see me as what she just described, those are the days that I would make sure I had my Xanax and I had in the pot, and then I could buy the alcohol. She knew nothing about that. She probably still can't grab the concept. I only felt normal once I could take the Xanax while I was on the meth. You see what I'm saying? And it's insanity. And you would chase that every day so I could be what she needed me to be. And to this day,
through my eyes, he was doing well, and we'd have a couple of days that way, and then he would slip, and we would be back to the missing or late night hours.
Then he's searching for it again.
yeah. So what she saw is hope.
Yeah.
I'm over here scrambling. I'm trying to find the Xanax to bring me down because I can't sleep. And that
She's seeing the
and ultimately it took over because you're staying up 4, 5, 6 days, the max 11, 12, 13, 14, no sleep, insanity. So just to be normal, I would try to find those Xanaxes, and then you mix alcohol with it to intensify it, and then so I could be normal. There was no better feeling in an active addiction for a meth user like myself than to have your Xanax, and then I could just really be calm and be what she needed me to be.
Meth wasn't involved in the early days, though.
No, the meth was the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, from 2005 back, 6 years.
We jumped a little bit. Yeah, still.
Still, that whole time frame was the same process.
But I still,
Same cycle.
you still wanted the meth. I mean, you still wanted the Xanax and the pot. I'm telling you, it's a substance. It's a nightmare. I mean, so I mean,
It's like she's holding on to the hope. You're searching, and she gets that little relief. And I think, and maybe you can answer this, but in those times where you, even though he wasn't sober, you had, that little inkling of this is the path that I want. Is that kind of what held you in place and gave you all of that hope? I mean, is that kind of what kept you where you were?
So I think to a large part, just, when you can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, you feel like you can get there, or you can hold on that much longer. You can dig your heels in. It's just like breadcrumbs, just helping you find your way.
Earlier, you said something along the lines of like when he was missing. And so y'all didn't have phones back then.
No.
So you had no idea.
Oh, my goodness. The torture of him not, he's saying that he's going to go to the store and get a pack of cigarettes, which I despised and was highly allergic and all those things. But, I loved his cigarettes. But so he would go to the store.
You thought he'd come right back?
Yes, like normal people. Be gone. That would be like 6 o'clock at night. I wouldn't see him till he's trying to get in at 2 or 3 in the morning. In the meantime, I'm frantic, worried where he is, calling his friends, calling around, even at times putting the kids in the car, riding to the pool hall, riding by rivalries, all the crazy places that I think he could be. There were even nights when I could sense that something was majorly awry, like discernment, and I'd be calling the ERs and asking them, do you have a John Doe? Do you have, it's just horrible because your mind takes you to the worst place. And all of the what if games that you play, it was chaos that we were living in.
Yeah.
It really was. And he had no idea all the effects of his choices were on me and the kids and those kind of things. And I had no idea how to manage all that just to keep. I knew that wasn't probably the healthiest thing to do, but.
So I guess as far as time frame, are we 10 years in, 6 years in marriage, or where are we at right now?
Well, here's the
Timeline.
Here's the craziness about it. You could put that timeline anywhere.
Yeah.
That was the pattern.
For 17 years.
For 17 years.
For me, I guess my question would be, and listen, if this is wrong to ask, what's going through your mind in all of this?
Yeah.
Do you want to get out, or you're so content in your lifestyle? What's going through?
Yeah, I think for addicts, we wanted both. We wanted all.
Yeah.
I wanted her. I wanted my lifestyle. I wanted to turn it off. I wanted to learn how to manage it. And I think that's what you ultimately try to do. You try to figure out how to manage what ultimately we know now is sin, but I'm trying to manage a lifestyle. How could I be what she needed me to be and do what I wanted to do, and then everybody be happy? Yeah. And so for a lot of people, and people that get high and use, they'll understand this. you start trying to have set goals. And that way, if you set the goals, then it's okay if I continue to do what I want to do. So if I had a job and I brought home X amount of money and I went and did this with the kids and I was there that Friday. So you start checking boxes and then you start going, well, I did this right and that right. I'm a grown man. I can do. And then you start doing your other things. So you try to manage that lifestyle.
Gosh, I think that goes for somebody that's not even an addict.
Right.
I mean, it could go, yeah. When you're in your selfish desires and your own life and trying to fulfill those, that's number one instead of the Lord, then that's what you're doing.
You try to figure out a script that works and everybody should be happy. And then ultimately you're trying to control it.
Mm-hmm.
And
you justify your choices.
Yeah, you need justification.
Even not in
So it was bad enough that you knew what I was, but if I couldn't bring home money, then I was sorry. All right. So isn't that crazy though? I'm not sorry because I'm getting high every day. I'm just sorry if I can't take care of my family. And that's insanity. And that's what went on for almost 22 years.
Wow. So do you have something that goes along with this chapter, or are you ready? Where are you at?
No, I'm good. Yeah, listen.
So one of the things that I would like to go into is like the last year. Of addiction. What's going through your mind at this point? How do you get to that dirt road? And then talk about the dirt road too, like how all this transpired.
Well, I'm spiraling, and
in the middle of those, you also lost your dad.
Oh yeah.
So
he lost his brother, and then 7 years later lost his dad. Mm-hmm. So here we go down another spiral. But then
as he kept getting worse.
Yeah. So it got really.
Then 7 years later, we have our third child. We had our second child in the middle. They're all 7 years apart. Then the third child, and then after she was 11 months old when he finally came to the end of himself.
Yeah.
So we have 11 months. The death of his father, death of his brother when our oldest was 11 months old. On death of his dad when our son was 11 months old, our middle child. And then
the death of
he died to himself and his flesh when our youngest was 11 months old.
Wow.
So I come home one day and by this time it's just is meth addiction is bad. I mean, it's bad as it can get. So, and I'm still trying to figure it all out, and I put that key in that lock and that joker don't work. And to a meth addict.
At your house.
Yeah, my house. I messed you up right there now. What's wrong? So you got to turn the thing harder, and we got to get in there. We got to get the screwdriver. We got to take the lock off. Something's wrong. And I'm thinking all the things why the lock shouldn't be working, or is it working? And then it hit me. I said, man, it's joker done changed locks. And I knew right then. I'm telling you, my heart dropped because I knew right then, and I don't know why it was that moment, that second. I said, it's all real. She's serious, and so she said, you're out. And I said, well, I can go change. And I won't never forget that I couldn't get it back in the house. And I didn't leave immediately. It was like I couldn't come back to the house. And she took out maybe some kind of order or something. Didn't you do that? She took out like a restraining. I couldn't even get in my own house. So there was a few weeks before I ended up getting on down there where I need to be. And I won't never forget it.
It wasn't back in the house.
Oh, but I was.
No, so we were there.
This is where, and she knows this, but she would be gone today, and I climbed through the window. Working.
Taking care of the kids.
I'm working too now. I'm working. I'm working on
trying to.
I'm really trying to get in that house because I'm on meth. I'm trying to go through the trash cans, trying to figure out what's going on and the paperwork, and I'm trying to track and trace. And you got that mindset, and you think everybody. Oh, it was terrible.
Out to get you.
Yeah, and she was gone, and that's all I knew. And I won't.
But I knew he would get in because he's messy as he can be. He would leave little things.
But I'd be trying to clean up. I'm trying to clean up. Trying. Can't do it. Mop. I can't mop nothing. It's a mess. But anyway, so it's bad. And there's a restraining order. And I knew. And then your daddy pulled up one day. Your daddy was out there. And old buddy was trying to sell me a canoe, and I'm like, I got morals and I got scruples. I told him, Mike, I can't do it, man. I got to change. I'm changing, bro. I said, by the way, what you fix? He said, well, I'm going down to Florida. I said, you are? He said, yeah. And and again, I'm not glorifying anything. It's just the way it was. He was running stuff down there that he shouldn't be running. But I just said, I'll catch a ride with him, which is a terrible concept. Catch a ride with a drug dealer, and we're going to Florida. Right. Anyway, I catch a ride. But the whole time when I would go home, I'd play around with the computer, or wherever I'd be, I'd play around the computer, and I was trying to find a place that would take me. And there was this place called 12 Oaks. And, it, you know, meth heads, the way we think, we go for the best. And it was the top.
5-star.
It was 5-star, bro.
I had also printed out and stapled a list of all of the facilities that my insurance would cover.
Which that mean that I didn't know anything about that. But anyway, I'm looking for this place, and this place called 12 Oaks. I said, that's where I'm going. And come to find out, Mike Mays, where he was doing some business with some guy, he was like 45 minutes away. I said, so that's when I also said, perfect. I'll just catch a ride with you, Mike, and then we'll see, and we'll just see how this thing works out.
Isn't it funny how you were like trying to get in the mindset that I've got to start doing right and get back in my house, and then the drug dealer shows up.
Now, I do want to tell you
this.
this.
Trying to walk away from it.
So
you know
you made
I
me
mean?
think, Abby. So that day when I put that key in that lock, I'll tell you this right here. It hit me. I was done. When I'm telling you, and I've told this story 100 times, but I was done. I said, that's it. I was done. Now, I would probably still get high that night, probably still get high the next morning, got high the next whatever until I was down there with Mike, but I knew I was done. Isn't that crazy? You know you're done. I'm going to tell you something else. I knew I was going to serve him. I knew.
You felt the call.
I already knew it. And I didn't know to what capacity. And all you know then is God.
Yeah.
You don't know relationship. You don't know Trinity. You don't know none of that crazy. You don't know none of that. You just knew God. And I said, that's the answer. Let's just say it like that. I knew God was the answer.
Yeah.
So I'm still doing what I'm doing. I get in that truck and I go down there, and we're in this pop-up camp or whatever anyway. So I'm down there, whatever. But the first night we land, we get down there, it's at night, and we're all up, jacked up, and the sun comes up. And I lose it. That sun come up, and he told me, he said, it wasn't S-U-N, it was S-O-N. And I didn't even know what that meant. But I just knew that it was. And brother, when that daggum sun lit up and I looked down that road, it was a dead end dirt road. And I said, ain't this something? I said, I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm in a pop-up camper and I'm on a dead end dirt road. And he says, well, this is it. And it was, and God, and this is the crazy thing. I don't think anybody's going to get this, but I'm just going to tell you how it is. I didn't know he said this until years later, but this is what, and that's crazy now. You're going to hear it and you're going to say, that don't make no sense. Well, whatever, you'll figure it out one day. It took years for me to remember and understand what he told me that day. He says, if you're not done, I'm taking you out. And isn't that crazy? For you to hear years later, to comprehend what God was trying to tell you. And I knew I was near death. And I didn't know it till years later, but I knew it then. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just learned this more recently. In one of Miss Sharif, the Potter's House founder, she said that, okay, so like a shepherd has all the lambs, but when they run off, he'll go and get the one, right? Like he'll leave the 99 to go back for one. Once he gets the one, he breaks the legs of the lamb and wears the lamb around his shoulders. And as that, the healing process starts, they learn the shepherd, the lamb. But if he runs again, he takes them out, like he kills them. And I've always heard addicts or like people on the other side of recovery and stuff like that say, I knew that if I went back out, I'm dead. Like he's taking me home, or he's taking me, or I'm leaving the earth. Yeah. And so like when you just said that, I just think about that. And I'm like, there's so many people that don't understand the 99 and the one and the what that truly means.
Like you don't realize it's going on when it's happening until like years later on down the road. But I guess I have a question for Paige in all of this. And this is like the biggest thing that I've been wanting to ask you guys, or you specifically during all of this, was when did you know like divorce was never an option? Because like,
or when you changed the lock, was that?
Or no, had you kind of gotten there, or were you always kind of on the divorce? I don't know if I could ever get there. Because like even you said when y'all were married, no matter what was going on, it was like y'all were still anointed. Because I just think that's so beautiful, and you don't see that nowadays.
Yeah, we had friends who got married not long after we did, or around the same time, and none of our friendships were still intact, right, as far as them being married couples. But I came from a divorced family a couple of times over. So I experienced divorce myself. I watched my parents at the age of 18 divorce. That was so I saw and I felt what it could do. my dad and my mom divorced when I was 5. Then my mom and my stepdad divorced when I was 18. So no matter what age, the pain is real and it affects you differently. And I just remember saying to myself that was not what I wanted. Mm-hmm. That was not what the plan was. I felt like we were brought together for all of time, and I did not want divorce to be part of my story.
Wow.
And so I hung in there. I loved him, even though he was a turkey and was not always the best that he could be. I saw who he could be. And when he was good as gold. And my heart grew, and I loved the time that we had. And I tried to focus on those positive times to get me through when the things were rough and we were in the valley until the next positive time, so I could just sponge and hold on to that. Although at the end of his, right at the end, before I changed the locks, we had an incident the night before. And for the first time, I mean, people had always, I had asked like my mom or even other people, how do you know when it's time? And they just said, Well, I didn't know I wanted to divorce him, but I knew that I had to draw a line in concrete this time, not the sand. I couldn't allow it to be brushed back over. And because sometimes we would that happen. You left a couple of times during the first 17 years and you would come back and we would work things out or whatever. But this time it was different. And I realized for the first time that it wasn't just about me. I could handle things myself, but what I was allowing my children to be subjected to through that could have possibly been worse than divorce as far as the pain that they suffered. And so that was it for me, as far as I was just like, you get help,
right?
Or we can't move.
It wasn't necessarily you went straight to divorce.
Yeah,
I had to
go straight
have
to
the boundaries and lines.
I did go talk to an attorney just because I wanted to find out as far as protective order of custody and things like that, just because he was not in a good place mentally, physically, and I just didn't know. I didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring, and so I wanted to put some protective measures there in case, and I just had the locks changed. And for me, that was the step in the direction of surrendering my control, because for so long I had no control of anything, but I thought I did. I lived in chaos, but the little things that I could control, I micromanaged, and I worried and I stressed and I felt like I had to check all these boxes. But for the first time, I was like, I'm done controlling it. I have got to surrender this, and if it's going to work out, he's going to make the change, not for me, for our 3 kids, not for his mom, but for himself and for his future. And I think, and the craziest thing, I had peace about it.
Wow.
I was not sitting in the corner rocking like I thought I would be, because every other time that's how I handled situations, just neurotic and so upset and devastated.
And almost at the same time of you having peace, he's kind of going that route as well of finding Christ and coming to the end of himself.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is y'all don't even know it.
No.
Like, y'all ain't got no phones. You're in 2 different states. Like, that's just so crazy to me.
So did you end up, so you're in Florida, right? Did you end up going to the place in Florida to get the help?
Yeah.
Okay. So start from there, I guess.
So we're down in that camper. I don't know how long we're there, a week, 2. I don't even know. I mean, the days are, I'm going to say a couple weeks is what I would say.
A few days.
It was in a few days. And we've done that a long time. Anyway, if she said different, I know you got me. But I don't know.
My mind was clear.
I'll tell you one thing. Mike Mays don't stay nowhere for long. So
well, Mike was back and forth. Here's the thing now. Mike's back and forth.
Yeah.
So we're wondering, hey, what's going on, Mike? You said, you're gone again. And he'd come back. So I know we're down there a few days. I mean,
a few days.
No, I mean, like a few days for me is 7 to 10. But anyway, that's the way it was. But that's in my mind. So I'm down there, and here's the crazy thing. So the guy that's in there with me is there's another guy named Jeff and Wade Edmondson. He had come down there. He was popping in and out, and anyway, so the wild and the crazy thing was, it was dwindling down. I won't never forget. I said, and there was that night, whatever day it was, and another guy named Jeff was around that area, and he was in that camper with us. And I said, tomorrow, I said, I'm going to check myself in. I got to change the way I'm living. I need a ride. And I will never forget, he started laughing. And I remember all my life, you try to get people to laugh and you cut up and blah, blah, blah. But for the first time, it wasn't funny. And he saw humor in it, and I didn't crack a smile. And I said, no, I'm for real, bro. I said, matter of fact, and I gave him my boots, and there were some Xanaxes in the boots. I said, you can have them too. I said, would you take me down there? And he took me down there for some Xanax and some boots, which he probably took me anyway, but he dropped me off. And I went to the front desk. I said, I'm here to check in. She goes, let me see your paperwork. I said, I ain't got none. She said, all right, let me see your registration. You got something to see your request form. I said, I ain't got it. Let me see your insurance. I said, I ain't got anything. I said, ma'am, I said, what you probably need to do is you need to get your boss, because I don't know if you're going to be able to do this intake. I said, but I know I'm supposed to be here. Anyway, so long short.
Is this a Christian place?
No, Jesus ain't within 5 miles of that place. All right. So it's right there. It's called 12 Oaks. It's right there on the sea. It's right there on the ocean. We called it cirrhosis by the sea. It was off the joke. But now this was what the top, at that time, the top in the country. Our military was sending their generals or colonels. This is where, it was good stuff. And I had found this place, and I knew. And so what they did, God, they let me in. They said, we're going to call your insurance in the morning, and if we get that, we'll let you stay. So they call in the morning, they give them 3 or 4 days. Let him stay for 3 or 4, we'll call again. They did that for every 3 to 4 days. They would call the insurance company to get clearance for letting me stay a little. Now, I think I was down there for 30, 40 days.
21,
she said. But anyway, bless her heart. And I always thought my girl could count, but I just don't know how long. I don't know how long I was down there.
Right.
But
it felt like that long.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was, Ab. But anyway, so I'm down there, and I for whatever days it is, and they say your time's up here, and that whole entire time, I will never forget. I just won't never forget. God, for me, showing up. It was not a religion. You get cussed out, but these were top. That's how they talk to you. They had a way to try. I will never forget this guy, and he's real now. His name is Rick. Dr. Rick Beach. He was the doctor down there. I will never forget him saying, hey, bro, the problem that you got is addiction is a disease. You just got a disease, son. We can help you. And I went, that is so great to know that I had a disease. Yep. Addiction. I know what's wrong with me. And come to find out, God said, partner,
no,
that ain't the disease. The disease is sin. Right. Now, I won't have you, it's been really crazy. In the last 6 or 7 days, do you know there's a guy at the rescue mission where I'm at now? He knows Dr. Rick Beach. He's very close with him.
Wow.
Wade Edmondson's sister, I got to talk to at a wedding this weekend.
Wow.
And we connected. So some things in that past. But anyway, we're down there. It's just crazy. And then we're doing this now. And so it was just crazy how that all evolved at 12 Oaks. And I did my time, and I came back. I turned myself in. And I had to stay in a facility for a little bit because they wanted to talk, I got locked up for a little bit. I got locked up, and I had to stay there for a while.
Okay.
And so I knew that I was going to I knew I was going to go to prison because I had been to jail so many times, and they had told me the next time in Houston County you come, you're gone. And I knew I was probably going to they would give me 2 or 3 years, and I'd have to do 12 to 18 months, get out on good. And I was ready, I was prepared. And Luke Meyer was the judge, and he was very strict, and he loved his job. And I went into court, and that morning, the day of court, he got pulled off the case, and they put McConnell, in which he's just the coolest. And him and I had
used to be a football coach when he was a little boy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he's kicked back with his feet on the desk and his hands behind his head. And when I walked into court, he wanted to ask about a fight that was like a year old. That's how he starts tripping out, cutting up. And I knew then, and he suspended my sentence. And and I didn't get any prison time. And my wife and my mom were the only 2 there in my sport that I remember. And I got to go home with my wife. And I'm telling you something, that's been 20 years ago, and my life has not been the same since.
Yeah.
Wow.
God did a number on me, immediately spiritually changed.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the little hazy part. Did you get saved? Did you walk out? I was in court. I was in the courtroom, and I got out there and I was in church the following Sunday.
Wow.
And I think I walked an aisle at Centerville that Sunday. But I got to tell you something. My life changed the day those locks got changed. Isn't that crazy though? Spiritually, something happened in my life the day those locks were changed. But the evolving of the transformation, or however you want to say it, of a human being when he knows Jesus Christ needs to be Lord, it was that day going out of that courtroom, my life was forever changed. I knew that I would never touch a drug again. And I'll tell you something else. I could start back using tonight or tomorrow. He'd take me out of here. He would not let me live. The same thing still applies that he told me on that dirt road. Either you're ready and you're going to change, or I'm taking you out.
Yeah.
It still applies today. Either you're going to live for me, or I'll just, like you said, he'll just call you home. You know how you tell that mama says, hey, boy, stop, to that little 3-year-old, and they don't. They say, I'm going to tell you again, stop now. And about the third time, they say, all right, if you do it again, I'm going to tear your little tail up. And then they say, hey, you do it again, I'm taking you home.
Yeah.
And I think that was the way it played out. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of the times we hear like you got to go to like a rehab for like a year, but for you it was like 3 weeks in this facility and your world changed.
Yeah.
Well, really the day
No,
that. But I'm saying like when you spiritually encounter Jesus and you have that encounter with him, that sanctification process started immediately for you. You didn't need more time. You knew without a shadow of a doubt it was over for you.
And I think it's good that you say that, Lex, because when he calls you, okay, and this ain't biblical, I'm just telling you how it played out. He called me that day, okay, with that lock, he called me, and I heard him, and I said, yep, but it didn't happen that day. He called me. Now, something had to happen. That was like right after Christmas. Okay.
January.
It was still December, I think. But anyway, when he calls, you need to acknowledge that what you hear ain't human and it ain't natural. It's spiritual and it's supernatural. So when you get that call to change your life forever because of him, just stay there now. You need to acknowledge it, and you need to press into it, and you need to see what that's about, because I promise you right now, you'll never be the same again.
that's so good.
Yeah.
And those 3 weeks that he was down there, even though it wasn't a Christian facility, God was talking to him, having conversations with him. He would occasionally get to use the phone. He would call me, and I was at peace. I was like, okay, I'm not falling for it again. I'm not taking him back. He has to prove himself, so to speak. He has to earn his spot back and his way back in, and a key to the door. You know what I mean? But I could tell in him in the occasional phone calls. He started writing me letters. And in the letters, just the conviction that God allowed him to feel for the first time, because the numbness was finally gone, and he wasn't self-medicating, and he was able to face some things head on for the first time with clarity. And I was beginning to see, his light start to shine. And so he was there for 3 weeks, and then he spent 2 weeks in the detention center. And that was due to the fact that part of me changing the locks, I also called his PO. And I said, hey, here's the thing. He's been, under your care for many years, and you have done nothing to assist in this process. So I need you to help with that. And I need you to do a test or something. He's needing to get some help.
Right.
And I said, and if you don't, I'm going to have to call higher up. So I kind of did a little Trump thing there. And so that was how that played out. When he ended up leaving town without permission, he was like contempt. So that worked out to our benefit, and he was able to turn himself in, and that gave us 2 extra weeks.
Yeah.
Insurance pushed past. Usually they just do 3 to 7 days back then for like detox and facility, but they extended it, or the Lord extended it.
That's right.
21 days, 3 full weeks, and then he got an additional 2 weeks
to stay sober and clean.
for the Lord to have that time to talk to him one-on-one, for him to be still, because this man was never still.
And these were really hard times.
Yeah,
now.
they were tough.
That's what I was about to ask.
Oh, Brad,
It was so hard.
I'm telling you now, and I don't know if a lot of your listeners are going to get this, but some people will. And some of these things I've never discussed with her. There was one individual thing I could have done while at 12 Oaks, and I think that it would have wrecked everything. We did. Wrecked it. I mean, wrecked it. And I chose not.
Wow.
I'm just telling you, and that was the Lord in me. But I really don't think I'm answering a call. I'm not really sure, but I knew if I did that, which would have been way wrong, and I didn't. I said, nah, I'm not. And then when I got back and I turned myself in, what happened in that jail, it was tough. I mean, it was tough. Matter of fact, there's a guy named Steve Hedden. He was the bunk above me.
Oh,
well, he saw it all, and it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. You had to make a decision, and when we made the decision, I made a decision. So I had some really, really, some people say there's no hill for the climber. Okay, I had some hills, and I had to
mountains.
I had to go over, and some things had to happen. But I'm just telling you that after that, it was my life. Mine happened overnight. And I know that's not probably normal. And but people always ask. This is what they ask: how do you know that you're saved? And the best answer, and this just came to me in the last couple of days. I was listening to Billy Graham. The best way, the only way that you can tell if you're saved, has your life been transformed?
Wow.
I mean, radically. I don't care if you smoke meth or you're an accountant for freaking Raymond James. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Has your life? You can work as a CEO of a major company in California. You can whatever you want to give me. The only way that you know that you're saved, has your life been transformed? I think we water it down. When that Bible says all the old passes away and you become a new creation, we try to make that cute, warm, and fuzzy. We try to say my life has just been turned upside down. No, it's not really like that. Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's why most people will not get saved. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah.
Most people do not do what we're talking about right now. And that's why they're going to miss it.
Yeah.
Until your life has been completely transformed. Okay? That's how you know you're saved.
During that whole time, my biggest prayer all the years through addiction was that Lord, would you allow him to be freed from bondage and for us to have, just security.
Yeah.
I didn't pray for anything bigger than that, because to me that was a huge prayer.
That was everything.
And that was everything.
But we didn't know it was everything.
No,
that's all we had.
that was all I could.
I think that's a good point. To know that we didn't know it was everything, but it was all we had. That's the beauty in Christ.
Yeah.
When you just don't know the details of it, but you know that's all you got.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's what makes any of this go. What we're doing right now is when all I know is it's Him.
Yep.
Because
That's the only
everything.
reason.
Because I look behind me and I look at the devastation. When you could turn back around and see what your life used to be after you gave your life to Christ, then you understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And that, to me,
That's the transformation.
that's the transformation. And if you can't step back and take a look what has been transformed, then I don't think you met Him.
Wow.
And that's not judgmental. That's our story. Okay?
Yeah, for
now,
sure.
here's the thing now. She got saved.
Yeah.
Okay? So she knows what it means for all the old to pass away. That's a finer woman as you'll meet. She ain't never done no dope. She ain't never done drink. She ain't know that. But her life got transformed through her relationship with Jesus Christ. She's good as they come. She can look back and see. It's like a tornado. You can see how you used to live.
God carried me through.
Right.
Yeah, He carried you through. He got you through. But her old way of living would have cost her hell, right?
Yes.
Right.
And she's as good a woman as I ever met. Never touched a drug. So people say, I always want your story, not mine. Or that's what they say about it. I want their story. No, you got your own story. You were the one born lost, just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
You just chose to do something different with your time. Lost is lost. Transformed is transformed.
Yeah. I really relate to that because when I heard from God for the first time, like it was radical and that's hard. Like people are like, what in the world is going on? But like, it's hard when you do radically change, especially for y'all, because now you're having to come together. Like, I mean, y'all were one flesh already, but now you're having to learn to truly walk it out together. And so what does those early stages look like once you come to Christ and you go home and now you have 3 kids, the wife, the job, the normal, simplistic life?
You said
It was so beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Oh, rainbows and lollipops.
You said walk it out. When we had to go to answer that question, we came back together. We won't never forget that first year. We had to walk things back. I walk them out. You had to walk them back. So I'm coming in there in that kitchen. This is the craziest thing to me of the whole testimony. We're in the kitchen somewhere in the first year of me out of jail, living for Jesus. I am hard, radical, and not easy to put up with. This. I am. What is the word? Just
a ball of fun.
Just not a bowl of fun. But I'm like, give me the checkbook. We got to tithe. We got to.
Yeah.
Are you in your word? How much you giving, girl? We got to get. And I won't. I was beating her over the head with the Bible. It was
Like fire and brimstone.
It was terrible.
It was beyond that.
It was beyond. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. She turns around. She goes, I'm out, and walks out of the kitchen. And I looked up at God and I said, you brought us this far. And she's fixed to leave. I didn't get it. I'm telling you now, it wrecked me. It wrecked me. A year is almost gone. And it's supposed to be right. And she says, I'm out. And I won't never forget what she told me. She says, I wanted you to change. I didn't want you to change this much. And I'm telling you, she'll have to tell you the rest because it was just.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
my fault.
So it was just a huge
It was a
process to reconciliation.
Yeah, I had been basically a single mom and independent, making all decisions for the family and taking care of everything. And he came in and wanted to be the spiritual leader and the decision maker, and for me to fall back, but yet co-sign on, on the way that we ran things in our home. And I was like, hold up. Where have you been for 17 years? It's almost like you have to earn this position, which is completely wrong. We're not supposed to hold people to an earning status. The Lord, if that was the case, we will never be able to be who he wants us to be, because we can never earn his love and his grace and all of those things that he's gifted us with. So it was... and I had these certain boundaries and expectations that I wanted for him and these hoops for him to jump through to be able to earn that placement in our family. And like I said, this was a whole new situation. We had not ever been equally yoked before. And so, his yoke and my yoke were not matching up.
I've never said this, and this may be, but I'm going to say it. I think we both had our own race to run. Okay. I think, again, I believe I was overbearing, way too hard, and that was me. But I still think she had to clean up her own race.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know that I needed to clean up anything. You know what I mean? I was so oblivious to the sin that I had in my own personal life, because his sin was so on a marquee sign and so neon and flashing and getting all the attention, that my pocket sins were not of destruction mode, in my opinion. You know what I mean? If you're like equaling them up on the building block levels, I was like, no, boo, it's you. It's all you. Let's work on getting you. But absolutely not. The Lord revealed to me that there were so many things that I needed to work on, so many things that I was not doing right and were not in his will. And so that kind of knocked me down and kind of put me in my place. And when I, was repositioned by the Lord, we got to a better place. Pat kind of was a little bit muted down, and the Lord put me in my place, and then we started to mesh for the first time. But it took probably close to a year and a half.
That's so good.
And we got closer to divorce than we did the first 17 years.
Yep.
Wow.
No joke, because Satan was coming hard for us.
Yeah, no, it could have been Satan. I mean, I think sometimes we give him too much credit.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
You said it best when you said we both had our own race to run.
Yeah.
It's like, and me and Dexter, and I think it's so good for any marriage to hear this, whether it's, somebody that hasn't had the struggles y'all have, regardless. But, what we've been talking about, obviously there's things in our marriage that we want to work on. But we had this conversation because we just started that new Bible study. And I was like, well, if we're just focused on him, that's it.
Right.
And he's the number one in me. And I'm rightly right there with him. And he's showing everything about me. That's what's going to heal anything that's broken in our marriage. I'm running my race, you're running your race, and in turn, that's what's going to bring us together. And that's like what it seemed like you just said was after that happened and you were doing your part and he's doing his part, it's almost then y'all came together and y'all felt more closer than y'all had ever felt through him.
Yeah.
And then it became almost like we were newlyweds.
Right.
I mean, we've been like almost 20 years at that point, or probably more than that.
It started getting fun.
Yeah, well, it was so neat.
Yeah.
And we were so giddy about doing things together. And we didn't realize, we always said we were opposites in every possible way. And we still have a lot of opposite traits naturally, but we began to do things together and make memories and try different hobbies and things together for the first time. And it was really special. And church became so very important to our family. We started recognizing it wasn't just going to church. It was being rightly related with Jesus. And that trumped everything else. And we weren't going to do sports on Wednesday nights and Sundays. And we were going to make sure that we were praying and we were doing Bible studies, reading the Bible in the living room. Our youngest was just becoming a higher level reader. I think she was like second grade, and she was reading the Bible in the living room, and we were watching, remember the Passion of Christ, and on TV with her, and it was just, and she got saved right there at the house with her daddy leading her through the sinner's prayer. I mean, it was just good stuff. Yeah, but it took a minute.
There's still a level of, and this has been the past probably 6-7 months that, this is a term. It's a secular term, but. I know for me, but I try to express it the best way I could. I buried the hatchet. Because your mind will still mess with you now. Okay, we still got stuff in a closet that for some of us got a revolving door. Okay, it ain't no open and shut, and some of the doors are just off the hinge. But I've moved on in a lot of things. Now for me, you have to move in. You have to move on from yourself. Okay, at some point in time.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, and you have to understand, okay, my identity is in Christ and that's who I am. But I also got to move on from what I thought. Because again, when you're on meth, stuff gets in your head and you can't tell the truth from a lie. Yeah. And you have to carry that stuff. And if you find out one thing that you had a crazy thought about is true, then that makes everything else possibly true. And that will consume you. So about 6 months ago, I just said, you know what? I love you and I love God, and whatever I've thought, I'm done. I checked out. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've thought about her in a negative, sinful, and I buried it. And it didn't take me 20 years. So if you're out there just trying to figure out, I got this stuff in my head. If you really love Jesus, then you really love her.
Yep.
And that, sometimes we try to reverse that. I want to love them. And that ain't it. I don't know if I've ever said it like that, but if you really love Jesus, then you love you love your spouse. And I buried it.
I've said that about Dexter, where you have to get to a point where we've had this conversation where I love you as Jesus loves you. That's the only way I can love you the right way. And I feel like that's exactly what you're saying is whatever thoughts or things that I had, they're not mine anymore. I'm having the Lord's thoughts about you now going forward. I'm letting it all go.
You have to lay it down.
Yeah.
You have to lay it down, and you don't hold on to it. That's the thing. Because if you hold on to it, your mind will be manipulated by all of the past hurts, hang-ups, habits, sins.
It eats you alive.
The pain that you've gone through and experienced, and we don't live there anymore. That's why some pastor said something one time about the rearview mirror being small. There's a reason why what we've overcome and what's in the past, we only have a small area to look at versus the windshield. What's in front of us is huge.
But you have to learn this now. I mean, this is not.
Comes through lessons, trial.
Yeah.
And you can hear this all we want, but until you put it into practice, and I think there's a level of having to go through this stuff. This ain't easy.
Yeah.
Y'all. I mean, there's nothing easy about this, but we got a second chance, and you can do this.
Wow.
But it's only by way of Christ. You can't.
Yep. Can't pull it off on your own.
Yeah.
With all of that, I kind of want to go ahead and start making our way to close, but we don't have to close like in the next 5. But I do want to hit on what life looks like today with y'all together today. Like, people don't even really realize you a pastor.
Yeah.
Well, let's say this now, and because we're going to bring each other along with each other. That's what we do. So we're in the ministry.
Yeah.
And,
Nice.
I think right.
Yes.
Right, we're in the ministry, and we want to try to win people for the cause of Christ. We love seeing life change. Her nor I can change anybody, so we know the one that does the changing. We work. I think we work pretty hard. Not at that. We get up early. We work late. There's a calling on our life. We are still learning how to submit and surrender and make Him first in everything. I think we do strengthen one another. I can still be a little bit overbearing. She can be a little bit super cautious, but the funny joke that we make is we have switched roles. Now I kind of want to plan. I don't know if she gives a dang. So,
wow.
So and that's our joke. I've become her a little bit, and she's become me, and that's funny to watch.
Yeah.
But we have grandkids. We're empty nesters. We got one kid left in college. We're just. Right now, it's, we're in our mid-50s, and we're just trying to figure out how to love Jesus more. And I need to learn how to treat her the way she's called. Hey, the beautiful thing about Christianity to me is how'd you fix it? All right, when you mess it up, how do you fix it? And to me, it's the number one sign of Jesus. And just what do you do when it doesn't go your way? And that's what, I think is really, really important.
But He's still growing us and teaching us about each other too. Even though we've been married 37 years.
Wow.
He's still teaching me to pay attention to certain things with Him and to help Him find balance when things get too heavy. And, in the ministry role that He serves in, it's in several capacities. And so it can be very heavy. And some of those things are not for Him to share with me. They're private, and they're things that people have, in confidence shared with Him. But to help Him with that load and to help relieve some of the pressure that he feels and recognize when I see those stressors pop up in him and say, hey, we need to get away, or you need to take some time and, go fish, or let's go out into the woods and hunt, or, those kind of things. And whereas we used to call them kitchen passes, we would give him kitchen passes. I would give him kitchen passes here and there. But now we do things so much together, and he cuts up about that all the time. He was like, for years, we rarely did anything together because we were on different cycles and sessions.
Yeah.
And now we do everything.
And
together.
now we do so much together.
Now, I would say, I mean, it's close to everything. I mean, it really is. I mean, we're always together. We hunt together. We fish together. We go together. We play together. We do everything just about together. Very rarely are we apart.
That's true.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Except at work.
Yeah. Yeah. Work. I mean, but we,
Your hobbies. It's not like you're living your own life and she's still living her own life. Y'all are doing everything together.
Everything is meshed together now.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
The prayer that I once thought was too big to even submit to the Lord.
Wow.
God just blew the roof off of it and abundantly blessed us. And we've mentioned this before. We call this our bonus time. It's like we're in the bonus. If you know anything about basketball.
Yeah.
These are just the extra. These are things we never even dreamed of. We never even prayed for.
I like how you said, this is far more than what you could have ever imagined. That was just such a simple prayer, and it's turned into something so beautiful, like so big, how God is using y'all's relationship and y'all's story, to help so many other people. But it's like we do put God in a box. Like we think we're just praying for this one, like we just need him to get sober. That's all you were really praying for, and the stability. But then it's come to where y'all are truly walking it out now, not running it back, but walking it out and living life like what God has called y'all to do. And that's just so, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have both of you on, is because there's so many women that have been struggling in the same place. I mean, I used to confide in you all the time about my marriage and stuff, and like how we were struggling because we were unequally yoked and our lifestyles had changed. And so it's just so beautiful to see what God can do when you truly surrender to him and his will and hear the call and surrender to that call. So I guess as we do begin to close, I do want to open it up to say, how would y'all like to close this? I know we just did this, but maybe he revealed something more to you, or maybe you have a piece of advice for somebody, or maybe you came in wanting to say one specific thing and I haven't given you the opportunity to do so. So what would y'all like to close it out as?
In all of this, when we get through and we're done, I just want people to know that the only way anything that you heard today worked is because we were counting on Jesus and we met him. We learned from the Bible that the reason men and women were created was to worship him. That is the greatest truth. It's the greatest truth. If you want to know why you're made, that's it. So, and anything short of total surrender is failure. And that's probably harsh because somebody may be, walking this thing out and maybe just taking baby steps. And if that's what you're doing, then that's great. But the day that you say that he's Lord and you haven't given him everything, he's not Lord. And that's hard for a lot of people, because a lot of people, this is what they're going to tell you next. I'm running my own race. That's great. But when you get through running your race, if he's not Lord over everything because you surrendered it all, that's not lordship. And that's what we had to learn. We had to learn that our marriage had to be completely given to him. And I'm telling you something, man, it'll do a number on you. It's very difficult, but if you can pull it off, and the Bible says you can, if you pull it off, you will learn how to love your wife and you'll learn how to love your husband.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would just, to add to that, I would just say being able to worship and love people well with your best friend changes it all. It gives you a joy that is immeasurable. It's a priceless gift that we never knew we needed.
That's good.
Yeah, that's so good.
Abby, what you got?
That's it. I'm just meditating in what y'all are saying over there because that's so good.
I know. I feel like I just want to ask so much more, but I'm like, I don't know. We'll just see. I think this is good. I think this is going to this is just going to be so powerful that people are going to really take a lot away from this. And I mean, that's my biggest prayer. That's what the prayer is for every episode. Yeah. But I just know that y'all's story has impacted my life so much and my marriage so much. And I'm just so thankful for both of you. and just the path and the road me and Greg are on right now. Like, I just look up to y'all, and I know he does too. And it's just so beautiful to just see what God can do. Truly, like, so it's just so good. Anyway, y'all know I cry. Anyway, I think we're going to end it there. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. Make sure to like, share, rate, all of the above. Stay tuned, stay blessed, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.